I'm still angry over this, and I may not write very well, and also I probably don't judge the situation very well being this angry, so I came to you. I'm a student. I have a student bank account where my college gives me money for transport when we had physical classes or scholarships. This kind of bank accounts has no fees but is age restricted, can't have one if you're over 25 and need an overseer. When I asked the bank about it, they told me it's just a security thing, so I chose mom because she's more tech savvy than dad. Well, through some incredible luck I managed to get only top grades last year, so I was awarded a study scholarship. Great. I've been saving it up, looking forward to Worldwide Black Friday, eyeing an amazing drawing tablet. I do digital art on very old intros. The tablet I was eyeing is as big as my monitor, is a display one, and is all around amazing. Black Friday rolls in, and Amazon Germany, closest to me, has it in stock at an amazing price. A price I could afford. I was so damn happy, I ordered it. Then I got a notice that the bank refused the card. I emailed Amazon, their customer service is so fast, and we went over the card details and such, making sure it was alright. It was, and they advised me to call my bank. It was odd, I had bought things online in the past with this card and it went through. I had enough money for it, even extra, so I thought maybe they had technical difficulties. But it was too late in the day to call and they don't work weekends, so I left an email. Only to find out today that for big transactions they ask for agreement from the overseer and that mine cancelled the transfer. I was like, what the hell, and confronted mom about it, who throughout the weekend acted obliviously, and she told me that of course, she couldn't let me throw money on something I don't need and that I wouldn't have money for Christmas presents if I bought that. Then she dared to ask me what I was planning to get my family this year. I told her that they won't get anything more than a bread shadow from me, and I went to my room and cried on the carpet. I missed out on the offer, I can't afford the tablet anymore, and it's all because mom wanted Christmas gifts. And no, I won't get her anything. Last year she got me a blouse too small for me that she later took for herself. She can gift herself this year too. Not the idiot. I might have some sympathy for your mother if she vetoed the transaction because she was concerned that you wouldn't be able to afford things you needed, but it was incredibly selfish of her to veto a purchase because she wanted the money to be spent on Christmas gifts instead. Does your mother have a form for buying gifts for you that are really for her? The blouse that doesn't fit seems like a classic case of that, given that, if it was a genuine mistake, one would expect that she would give you a gift receipt so you could exchange it for something that fit and that you liked, rather than commandeering it for herself. Not the idiot. Your mom is a huge idiot though. If her reasoning has been something mom like you need to have some cushion savings for emergencies, or she wanted you to start saving for your future, like a house or car, I could maybe give her a tiny pass, just because parents do be like that. But she did this crazy thing for her own benefit. That's so inexcusable and selfish. The logical thing for her to do would have been to call or text you and ask you what the large transfer was for. But she didn't, and I'm sorry you missed out on your tablet. If you want, you can buy her a lump of coal. Not the idiot. As a student on a scholarship, I don't think you have a huge responsibility to spend money on gifts. It's certainly not something she should be pressuring you about. She shouldn't have cancelled the purchase, let alone without telling her about it. I love the term bread shadow. I was reminded of this because I just saw a pic about that person leaving their plant out in public so it could get sun. I used to have an apartment that got a lot of sun because it was facing east or whatever direction gets the most sunlight, I forget, and there was no building next to me, so it was mostly unobstructed. The room with all that sunlight was my chill room, so it was mostly empty space with my desk and yoga mat. My neighbor next door asked me if she could put a few of her small cacti on my little sun deck, which was big enough for one chair and a little side table, and I of course said okay. I didn't really use the sun deck, and I like this neighbor. I also told her if she knew anyone else in the building, they could sun a few of their plants if they wanted to. Another person in my building, Jenna, started sunning her plants at my place. But it wasn't just a few little succulents or whatever, they were big. After the 4 or 5 plant, I kindly told her I'm running out of room, so she was allowed only one more plant. She got a little short with me, and I said I had plenty of room, but I would just have to take my cat's bed off the deck. He has an enclosed shelter and an open bed there, and I again told her that no, I won't be moving his bed, she'll just have to stop buying plants. She kept on escalating and eventually started actually chastising me, and I told her to come get her plants writhing the next 2 weeks, or I'd get rid of them. She never came and got them. I left plenty of notes on her door. I told her husband to tell her, all that stuff. Important note. I'd usually water people's plants if they needed to be watered because it was just easier. So she didn't come and get them after 2 weeks. I stopped watering them and they eventually die. I left the dead plants in her pots outside her door and she complained about me being a rude neighbor. Ugh. She later tried to sue me for the destruction of property, but it didn't get far. Anyways, am I a petty idiot? What should I have done? A friend told me I should have just left them alive at her door, but I gave her plenty of time, so to be honest I don't feel bad. Edit. I've seen a few comments about little things I should clear up. The lady with the bird is a nice lady, not the one whose plants I murdered by neglect in cold blood. I don't get the impression the bird is trying to escape or get away from her. It's usually very nice. He looks very healthy and stress-free to me. She spoils him rotten. I think he just doesn't understand Windows because he'll just fly right into it, get up, and do it again. She's tried putting strips of tape on the windows so he can see they aren't open, but she mostly has to keep the curtains closed. He's also more free range. I don't think he lives in a little cage most of the time. I like people's plants. My state is very seasonal, so the summer is good for keeping tropical plants outside, but you have to take them inside the other 3 seasons. I enjoy the plants because I don't have to take care of them endlessly all year round. I just spray them with water 2-3 times a day and enjoy the hummingbirds and butterflies they attract. Yes, I could have moved her plants before they died. I'm a lazy person by nature and can be petty, so I didn't want to move them unless I had to. They were wide pots with pockets on the outside of them, so it was kind of hard to hold, and it was around other plants that I had to move in order to clear a path, and it just would have been a hassle. Not the idiot. She expected your cat, who actually lives in the apartment blessed with sunlight, to be pushed aside to accommodate plants belonging to someone who doesn't live there. Nope, you were being kind and she got all entitled. Everyone's the idiot here. If you had the time and energy to bring the dead plants to her door, you could have brought them to her door when they were still living. Not the idiot. When I was a kid, our neighbor was planting a willow tree in their garden. Their garden happened to be up against the fence that divided our yards. Our garage was also only a few feet away from the fence. Meaning, when this tree grew larger, its roots would have traveled under the fence, destroying the fence, and into our garage. My mom asked our neighbor to move the tree so it wouldn't destroy parts of our property. Neighbor refused. My mom contacted their landlord, who said that he wasn't going to do anything about it. So, in the middle of the night, she went outside with a drill and some poison. She drilled a hole in the tree and placed the poison inside. The tree was found dead a couple days later. There are just some things you don't do as neighbors. So, I've been working from home for obvious reasons lately. We have a home office with an attached bathroom. My job is one that forces me to be on the computer the entire time I'm working. I also have an active webcam that has a constant feed of me and my team. Occasionally higher-ups will check in on us through the same live feed. The issue is that in the first few weeks my wife and 5-year-old daughter had difficulty dealing with the fact that I'm actually working and not hanging out at home. I kept the door closed but didn't lock it, but my wife and daughter would constantly enter the room, peek at my screen, talk to me, ask me for things, tell me to come over here, etc. Eventually I told them that this is making me look really unprofessional and they should stop interrupting me while I'm at work. My wife got offended and said that if I'm at home I should interact with our daughter more anyways. Another thing is I typically eat lunch by myself since I can't be away from my computer for long. I eat in front of the screen. My wife is also pissed at this as she says we should be having meals as a family if I'm home. Except for lunch with air runs for more than an hour and I just can't spare the time. Recently I've locked the door to the office and told them to knock only if it's an emergency and otherwise imagine me far away at work. In response, my wife has been knocking aggressively in the mornings to annoy me. Or she'll knock hard while passing the door and leave before I can get there. She's been telling our daughter that daddy doesn't care about us enough to see us, and that makes me really upset too. I feel really guilty about having to ignore my kid during the day, but I just really want them both to understand that I'm still working even though I'm at home. But now my daughter truly believes I'm ignoring her on purpose. Am I the idiot? Edit. I work in financial markets, and I literally cannot take water cooler breaks like other jobs. I'm in front of my computer screen all day and we are in constant communication with the rest of the fund. You don't step away, unless it's a bathroom break. My job consists of a lot of time-sensitive tasks, so it's not something I can push off or set my own schedule for. Edit 2. Just to clarify, the issue isn't about childcare work around the house. It's that my wife and kid tends to get bored around the house, and when I'm home it's registered as playtime instead of work time. So they're not coming in to ask me to do dishes or clean the house, they're asking me to watch Netflix with them or play with the dogs, etc. Not the idiot. What the hell is wrong with your wife? You're working during the day, you communicated that per your job you need to be in front of your computer with the camera on, and them bothering you is unprofessional. And instead of acting like an adult, your wife is being incredibly petty about you needing to be left alone. Aside from that, her telling your daughter that you don't care about her enough to see them can and will be incredibly damaging to your relationship with your daughter now and in the future. Not the idiot. Respectfully, what the hell is wrong with your wife? Your job is intensive, pays well enough for her to stay home and have a nanny, and she can't take it seriously. That gaslighting with your daughter is downright abusive. No one should tell a child that their parent doesn't care about them for having to work. That's disgusting. You guys need to seriously work on respectful dialogue and respecting your personal space. This behavior is seriously messed up. Your wife is the only one acting like a toddler in your household. Does she work as well? Or are you the only one financially supporting the family? Because then that's extra dumb to mess with your job at a time like this. Is she aware how many people have lost their jobs already for doing nothing wrong? Talk about being short-sighted. Not the idiot, but your wife is being a massive idiot for doing those drive-by knocks. She's literally acting like a petulant child. Back in February, I needed to have my wisdom teeth removed. I knew I wouldn't like being awake during the surgery, so I decided to get general anesthesia. My cousin Joe wasn't working then and didn't have much going on, so I asked him if he could bring me to the appointment, wait there while I had the surgery, and take me home and keep an eye on me until the anesthesia fully wore off. He was fine with it, and I made it pretty clear that I'd be acting like a blacked out drunk person, so he'd have to be responsible for me. Joe took me to the surgery, but when I got out, he was gone. The doctor's office called him, but he didn't pick up. I was very out of it at the time, so I stayed longer to rest and was eventually able to call a friend to pick me up. After I felt better, I asked Joe where the hell he was, and it turned out he decided to go get coffee and figured he'd just hang out at the coffee shop because it was more comfortable. He didn't tell the receptionist that he was leaving. He had expected me to call him and tell him I was done. He ignored the calls from the doctor because he didn't recognize the number and thought it was spam. Eventually he went back to the doctor to check on me, and they told him I had left. So he figured I was fine and saw no reason to find out if I was actually safe. Since then, I've been pretty cold to Joe. I'm upset at how stupid he was and how he thinks of it as a simple misunderstanding and doesn't accept that it was his fault. My family, aside from my parents, thinks I should forgive Joe. My aunt, Joe's mom, said that I'm an adult and should have gotten a local anesthesia and shouldn't be relying on Joe. Am I the idiot for still being mad at him? Not the idiot so much. Look, I get it. I was the person taking a friend to get their wisdom teeth out. I walked into the dentist's office and they had vanilla candles burning. Vanilla candles give me migraines. So there was no way I could stay in the building. So I told the front desk why, I told my friend why. And I went and sat in my car for the whole time. They peeked their head out the door to make sure I was still there and then brought her out. He was centered on his comfort. His enjoyment. Not what he promised or what you needed. I would never trust him again, he showed you here really is. Not the idiot. What a ridiculous situation. Accepting responsibility for a person coming out of anesthetic is a big deal, and he was total bad for doing that. Also, your aunt is an even bigger stupid because everybody reacts differently to pain, and if you felt more comfortable getting a general, then good for you. Silly woman. Not the idiot, but holding on to the anger only hurts you. You have learned that Joe is unreliable and selfish, and you just have to proceed through the rest of your life with that knowledge. Tell Joe's mom that he agreed to help you and reneged when you were in no condition to do much about it, and that's not cool. The excuses she makes for his irresponsibility don't help him. Then just turn down the volume. Don't engage while they're being disrespectful and making excuses. My 15 mom passed away in October 2019 after a long battle with lung cancer. I was really close to her and I miss her all of the time. In January 2020, my dad brought home his new girlfriend to meet us and she moved in with us when our state went into lockdown in March. They got married in November. I hate her. I know it's a cliche, but for the past year I've felt like my dad shoved aside my and my siblings' grief so that he could have fun with a new wife. She's not evil or anything, I think she doesn't know what to do with us, so she mostly ignores us. A few months ago, I overheard her talking on the phone with a friend, and basically it turns out that she met and started dating my dad before my mom died. I have no idea if my mom knew or not, but to me it feels incredibly disrespectful. Stepmom's parents came to our house for Christmas, and while they were mostly nice people, they kept telling their daughter how proud they were of her for stepping up and being a mother to these children. I got so mad because she clearly was trying to make it seem like we have a better relationship than what actually exists. So I told her parents that she wasn't much of a stepmother and that dating my dad before my mom had even died wasn't something a good person would do. The fallout hasn't been pretty, and even though it felt righteous at the moment, I've been thinking I went too far. Am I the idiot for tattling on my stepmother? Edit. Wow. Thank you all for your responses. I saw a few people asking for more info, so I thought I'd add it here. After I found out they'd been dating since before my mom died, I told my siblings. We tried to talk to our dad about it. He told us that his romantic life was his business and has shut it down anytime one of us tries to talk about it. So basically, I don't know if my mom knew or approved of them dating before she died. As for how things are now, it got pretty tense. Neither my dad nor stepmom has talked to me since Christmas Day, unless I say something first. Her parents were really upset. I don't know everything she told them, but they were upset enough to cut their visit short. Instead of leaving on the 29th, they left after lunch on the 25th. Not the idiot. Perhaps it was a bit petty. But honestly, I would probably do the same lol. As someone who grew up with step-parents, I always hated the whole stepped up and become the parent thing. Just feels disrespectful. Anyways, not the idiot, because you just revealed the truth, and what happens next is the result of stepmom's actions. Good luck. Not the idiot. I am so very sorry for all of this. When people take a risk and have an affair, they inherently take the risk of getting caught. They got caught. You are exactly right that your dad's behavior, even if he hadn't been cheating, makes the really important grieving process so difficult for the rest of you. I appreciate your willingness to question your actions, that's very mature of you, but you were carrying so much that was emotionally terribly painful. The in-laws' comments understandably pushed you over the edge. This is not your fault. Not the idiot. So sorry for your loss, and I think your dad is selfish. Don't let them create the narrative for this situation. Remain in control. Tell the truth always. Well done. It's not petty, it's important to maintain the truth.